Hi again. In this video, I'm gonna teach you about the when expression. So let's start with the when expression that accepts an argument. When is another control flow expression in Kotlin. To understand how it works and why we need another control flow, pay attention to this example. Suppose that we need to check more conditions in our if expression. For example, in this code, we need to check 5 conditions to return a message based on the star number. But we can simply use the when expression instead of the if expression, like this. Type the when keyword and inside parentheses type the star number. It means if the star number is 1, then return poor. If the star number is 2, then return fair. If the star number is equal to 3, then return good. And if the star number is 4, return very good. And if a star number is 5, return excellent. Else, return invalid number. So let's run this code. I enter 4 and press the enter key. And as you see, very good displays in the output. What happens is that the when expression matches its argument against all conditions one after another until the condition of some branch is satisfied. If none of the conditions are satisfied, for example, user entered number 10, else branch is evaluated. So the when expression, after finding the satisfied branch, it returns the result to the star description variable, and then we can print the star description. So that's why we say when is an expression, because it returns something. If you come from Java, you will find out that the when expression is similar to the switch statement. So in fact, in Kotlin, when expression is a replacement for a switch statement, but a when expression is more flexible. So it's a good idea to use the when expression instead of the if expression when we need to check more than 2 conditions. Okay, now let's talk about the when expression that doesn't accept any argument. As you see in this example, sometimes we need to check conditions based on a value. So we should use a when expression that accepts an argument. So conditions will be based on this argument. But sometimes we need to check conditions based on different situations. So we should use the when expression without an argument. For example, if we want to compare 2 numbers by using a when expression, we should write a code like this. When A is greater than B, then return A is greater than B. When A is less than B, then return A is less than B, and else return A is equal to B. And finally, we can print the result. Okay, as you see, we have two values to evaluate, so we shouldn't use an argument in front of the when expression. Instead, we need to check multiple conditions. Okay, so this is the second form of the when expression. We don't use parentheses and an argument. One thing you should know about the when expression is that conditions can be combined together if the branch code is the same. For example, suppose that we want to get a number from 1 to 10 from the user and determine if the number is a prime number. A prime number is a number other than 1 that is only divisible by 1 and itself. So between 1 and 10, 2, 3, 5, and 7 are prime numbers. Let's write the code by using the when expression, the code that determines if a number is a prime number. So first of all, let's get a number from the user between 1 and 10. And by using the readline function, let's convert it to an int, and then get the result and assign it to the result variable. As I said, 2, 3, 5, and 7 are prime numbers. So when the user enters 2, returns this number is a prime number. When the user enters 3, return the string again. When the user enters 5, and when the user enters 7. And 1, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10 are not prime numbers. So when the user enters 1, returns this number is not a prime number. Let's do it for number 4, number 6, number 8, number 9, and number 10. And else return number is not in the range. Okay. And finally, we can print the result. And now let's test the app. Let's test the code by running it. For example, if I enter number 5, it returns this message. This number is a prime number. But note that this code can be shorter and cleaner because the when expression can combine conditions. Conditions can be combined together For example, in this case, in this example, the branch codes are the same. To combine conditions, we simply use a comma like this. When num is 2 or 3 or 5 or 7, then return this message. We don't need these anymore. And when the num is 1 or 4 or 6 or 8 or 9 or 10, then return this message. We don't need these lines anymore. Now if I run the code again, I'll get the same result. The difference is that in this way, the code is cleaner and easier to read.